We've got John and Kathy Huggins on with us, and we're talking about their book, So You Want to Become an RVer. John, what are some of the top things that you think people need to know if they are going to become an RVer?
Well, I think that the very number one thing is do your homework. Do all kinds of research. Get on the internet. Buy books, especially ours, of course. But, go and research everything about what you think you want to do. And what we've told a lot of people, especially if they're thinking about full-timing, join the Escapees RV Club. They've probably got some of the best resources going that I can think of anyway for full-timers. So that's my number one. Do your homework.
One of the things that I see people do is they are oftentimes pay too much attention to the ice cream and unicorns, so to speak, all the great stuff about RVing. And there's a lot of that out there, but that needs to be balanced, especially in the beginning, with the reality, because it's not always great stuff that happens when you're RVing, right?
Oh, that's true. That's very true. I think people, because they don't do research, they go to a RV show and they walk into one of these really nice rigs and they get kind of glassy-eyed over and they buy the thing and they have no clue how to hook it up. They have no clue how to run it. They have no clue how to drive it, and they're scared to death of it most of the time because they have no clue how to do any of those things. So that's why we wrote the book. We want people to have an opportunity to take their time, think about what they're going to do to make it a really great experience.
What do you think about going to, once you have a floor plan or maybe a make and model that you're interested in, is traveling to RV parks and campgrounds and looking for that and visiting with people?
We did that. We went out to campgrounds and we talked to people about full timing. You know, we just walked around, introduced ourselves to folks. You know, they're sitting out outside their RV. And we went out with, how do you like RVing? What do you like? What do you dislike? And people love to talk. We RVers are talkers. So we learned a lot just by going to RV parks and talking with folks. And if you can find someone who has a rig that you think you would like, that's a great idea.
Go up and admire it. They'll invite you in.
They'll talk about it.
What about Facebook groups? I know that y'all have a giant Facebook group, Living the RV Dream, but so many of these groups on Facebook turn into bashing. You know, you can find something wrong with anything. And what do you think about adding Facebook groups to, I guess, your homework assignment?
Well, certain Facebook groups are better than others. One of my favorites outside of ours is RV Tips. It is the largest RV-centric group. It's very well managed. They have over 130,000 members, I think. Our group is also very well managed. I have 4 admins, and once somebody starts calling names and that sort of thing, they are immediately removed, and we keep very good order in the group. And we don't allow selling.
Yeah, I love that because, like you said, it can get out of hand in a hurry. What are your thoughts, Kathy, about before buying, maybe renting an RV for a week or two and going on a trip? I know that it may cost a lot of money, but RVing is not for everybody.
Oh, that's very true. That's very true. And if you're thinking of buying a big rig over $100,000, going out and trying it out is not a bad idea because it's not a free lifestyle. It's not you have to learn how to hook up. You have to learn how to unhook. You have to learn how to drive it. You have to learn how to store things in it so they don't fall out of the cabinet.
I'm not sure we ever totally learned that one.
You know, I met some people at the Houston RV show recently that were going to go from, I guess, a 2,500 square foot home. They're talking about buying a Class B to go full time. I'm thinking, oh my God, they'll kill each other in the first day.
Well, you should have a good relationship with your husband or your spouse or who's ever traveling with you.
Remember, you're going to be living in a hallway 24/7 with that person.
Since y'all have, since you became full-time RVers, I know you've met dozens and dozens of RV dealers. How do you see the dealers have changed in their attitude for after-the-sale service over the years?
I really, it's hard for me because we only really dealt with one dealer. That's Lazy Days, where we bought it. We had very good success with them because we were smart enough to book our service calls well in advance, and I usually knew what was going to have to be done, and I would get them to order the parts before I ever got there. So, again, do your homework. I've heard a lot of horror stories.
Yeah.
Certainly about Mr. Lemonis's dealerships, but, everyone is different. It's really up to that service manager, who he hires, how good they are, how conscientious they are.
Again, go out to campgrounds and talk to folks. Where did
Exactly.
you buy your rig? Do you think you got a good deal? Are they taking care of you afterwards? Because you can find that same rig at another dealer. It's no problem. They make more than one at a time. And they make more, than one design. So talk to people. When you go out to an RV show, talk to people there. You'll sit down at a big table where everybody's got a hamburger or a barbecue and say, do any of you have this rig? What did you think of it? Or we're looking at this rig from this RV dealership. Have any of you bought from there? What do you think? People like to talk.
Yeah, some like it and some don't. You'll get all the opinions at one table.
Well, and unlike homework when you were in school and you hated doing homework, this is fun homework, and it doesn't cost you anything. It just costs a little bit of time.
Exactly. We love RV shows. We learn more stuff at RV shows. We don't go into RVs and get carried away with the glitz and glamour of the floor plan. We're usually looking at things like, wow, is there a pantry in this thing?
Yeah, we looked at a rig that was like $300,000 and there was no pantry.
They expected if you can afford this, you can eat out all the time.
Well, in about 45 seconds or so, and then we're going to pick it up on the other side, what are some mistakes to try and avoid if I'm going to buy my first RV?
Don't get in a finance hole.
Yeah.
Don't get a 20-year loan where you don't know you're going to like that rig after a few years, or once you do finally sell it, you're going to be deep upside down on it, and you're never going to get your money out. You're going to have to take out a loan to sell it. You talked about that in the first hour, and it's oh so true.
Yeah, I hear people that buy an RV, they put a 20-year note on it. I heard a story last week, a lady that bought one and had been paying on it for 6 years, had a $90,000 note, 6 years worth of payment. She still owed about $83,000 on it. Now the RV was worth $40,000. I mean, that's an awful position to find yourself in. Hey, listen, guys, we got to jump. We got you for another segment. I want to hear about your follow-up book, So You Want to Become a Work Camper, next, okay? All right, good deal, folks. We've got John and Kathy Huggins on with us, and at 44 minutes past the hour, I'm going to give our listeners an update on our invitation for Camping World CEO to join us live here in the studio, along with some highlights of conversations and telephone calls about Camping World that I have had over the past week. All that still ahead on the country's #1 radio show about the RV lifestyle. All right, Alan Warren, your RV Wingman here with our friends John and Kathy Huggins, authors of So You Want to Become an RVer, which we have just touched on, and now on their follow-up book, So You Want to Become a Work Camper. Tell us about that, Kathy, John.
Go ahead.
Well, we actually kind of dropped into work camping. We were at a campground, and there was an opening. They had their own TV channel, and there was an opening. We thought, well, we'll try this. What does it mean? So we did. We took on the job. We had a great time. We got to meet a lot of people. We got our site for free, and that's when we started learning more about work camping. Got into work camper news.
And we were in Arizona over the winter work camping in a wonderful park, and the managers there gracefully allowed us to interview them for our show. Mm-hmm. And what came out of that interview and subsequent talks is absolute work camping gold. And from that, we started the book. Mm-hmm. They gave us how they hired people, what they looked for in a resume, what they looked for during the telephone interview. It was, as I said, work camping gold. So that kind of started us on the work camping book thing.
So who does work camping appeal to, do y'all see? What kind of RVers does it appeal to?
Almost everybody. If you have time and you want to stay in an area for maybe 6 months, or most of the gigs are about 6 months, and because you get your site free, that frees up all kinds of money. You usually work part-time, although they're full-time. Your pay is your site.
Although sometimes you get cash, too.
Sometimes you get cash. But it gives you a chance to stay in an area for 6 months, find out all about it, go to all the museums in the area. We actually went to Rapid City 4 summers in a row. We had so much, there was so much up in that area, and we had a great time. Yeah. And it's fun.
Well, I want to tell you that my experience with Work Camper News, and I don't get paid a nickel for this, folks, it's called workcampernews.com. But I just recently ran an ad there, and the good news for me, because I'm a campground owner, there's a lot of people that respond to that ad, and some really good people, too, very qualified.
You betcha.
Yes.
We worked through them for almost every work camping gig we got, except the first one. We got all the rest of them through the workcamper.com.
Well, there's a lot of good people out there. I think we just hired a lady, and she is amazing, and I hope she's going to be with us for a very, very long time. Now, I understand in our closing minutes that you're no longer full-time RVers. What's the story? Have you lost your passion?
Oh, no.
Not at all.
I still dream about it, but I've become, I got very ill. I had to have emergency surgery, and then I ended up, I had an aortic valve that was infected, so I had to have another surgery, and I just had another surgery.
Oh, goodness.
So my health has not been very good. It's getting better, and we would love to be out there traveling, but it's just at this time it's not in the cards for us.
Yeah. Yeah, she's on refrigerated meds, and they have to be delivered cold, so you never know where you are in the country. And that was really the final straw that we decided to sell our rig and buy a house. But we're thinking about bringing back our podcast. We're thinking about doing another rally. We've done a couple of them, so we're looking forward to it.
Well, I'm so glad to meet you guys and have you on the show. I know it's our first time to actually visit. And Kathy, it's nice to hear your voice. The other day when I called, you were a little under the weather. So
I did something very not bright, I would call it.
We don't need to go there now. I do want to go one other place before we jump to the break. So when you guys look into the future of RVing as RVers and looking at the RV industry, what do y'all see? Are you optimistic? Are you cautiously optimistic? Are you pessimistic? What are your thoughts for RV education for people? Tell us what you see in the future and what's needed.
Because of the lack of care for people who own RVs, and the manufacturer is not doing a very good job, RVing is starting to get a bad reputation. And people are going to get frustrated and angry, and a lot of them are going to drop out, and it's going to put a bad taste in people's mouths, and they won't even try RV. So I hope that the manufacturers start understanding that it's not all about the dollar, it's about the quality of the rig. Will keep people coming back to your particular rigs, and that you will understand that you're dealing with people and you're dealing with a lot of money. And I see it as kind of sad. I hope that it doesn't go down that way. But talking with people that I've talked with, there's a lot of negativity out there right now.
Yeah, well, we're trying to change that and get them to provide more education for RVers. Real quickly, people connect with you at livingthervdream.com, correct?
That's our website. There's over 100 pages of awesome information up there.
Awesome. John, got to call it there. Thank you so much. livingthervdream.com.